The standard narrative about habit change, success, performance improvement, achieving a goal is that you need to set a goal and that you need to try really hard. And if you haven't achieved that, then it's because you don't have the willpower or the grit or the perseverance. And we tell ourselves these kind of internal narratives all the time too, like, oh, maybe if I really wanted it, then I'd achieve it. But what you find is that the deeper you study human behavior, the more that you see that so many of the actions we take each day are simply a response to the system that we find ourselves inside. And so the argument that I make in the book is that what you need to change is not necessarily your goal, but your system. And the phrase that I like to use is, we do not rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. And so if you can restructure the system or the environment you find yourself in, whether that means changing your physical environment, so we can talk some about that, like the things on your desk at work or your kitchen counter at home, changing your social environment, the people that you're surrounded by and the habits that are normal in your particular tribe, whatever that group happens to be, changing your approach and the habits you're asking yourself to build so you can keep your lofty ambitions and goals, but breaking them down into something that's easy to do. And finally, selecting a strategy that fits well with your particular makeup, with your personality, your genes, your circumstances, so that you essentially match your environment to your natural strengths. And all of those are examples of a way to build a better system, of a way to create a system that promotes good habits effortlessly and sort of lets you achieve your goals as a natural consequence of being in a good system, rather than saying it's all about the goal. Let me focus on this milestone and work hard toward that. So one of the most effective feelings, one of the most motivating states, is the feeling of progress.
Yeah.
And if you're focused on feeling guilty, blaming yourself for not improving, feeling like, oh, I'm not able to build better habits because something's wrong with me, that's not a very productive state to be in. Whereas if you shift it and say, all right, the problem is not me, the problem is the system. And if I'm going to change the system, then I can do X, Y, and Z. And we can talk about a variety of those strategies. But each time you do that, you take action and you build progress and momentum. And so I think it is a much more productive way to approach the process of change, because it gives you something to actually work on. Mm-hmm. I mean, all the rest of these strategies, a lot of the time it's about stuff like, think positive or fake it till you make it or stuff like that. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. Like, certainly if you want to think positive, sounds better than thinking negatively. But my focus is much more on practical action steps. How can we make the process of behavior change actionable and give you something to do to design a system where you're more likely to succeed? And so I think that's just a better place to spend your time and energy.